welcome all of you who are here with us in the room, as well as everybody who's joining us online. Can wave to them. Hi, guys. I am Josh Mora. I am the program director of the Sports Marketing and Media degree here at Full Sail, and I am hosting a session. I did not name it. It's Points, Pyro, and Popcorn. But the relevant part is how sports marketing is utilized to enhance the game experience. And we have some outstanding people with us from our favorite organizations, and there are some of our favorite people from these favorite organizations. I want to introduce a graphic designer from the Orlando Magic and a 2008 graphic design graduate of Full Sail, Justin Garand.
Thank you.
Video producer from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a 2009 film graduate of Full Sail, Stephen Lynch. And a woman who comes from an organization who's made it okay to wear purple again. The vice president of marketing from Orlando City Soccer, not one of ours yet, Teresa Tatlonghari. One of our good friends, for sure. You guys all come from such diverse backgrounds to get here. So why don't you, if you could each maybe give us a couple of minutes about your background and what it is that you do for your organizations.
Absolutely. Justin Garand. I'm originally from Farmington, Connecticut, so a small little town in New England. And I discovered Full Sail in 2007 online. I said, wow, I need to come to this school. So I traveled down here with my parents, drove all the way through in one day, straight through 24 hours. It was intense. I don't recommend it. And I took the tour here, and I knew this is the place I want to be. I knew that my dreams were to work in digital media and design, and I knew this school was felt propelled me for my career. So post-graduation, I took an internship with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I traveled every day from Orlando to Tampa to work there, and it was unpaid. But I knew the experience there and be able to work in the NFL and to work in sports, I didn't think I could have that opportunity. I felt that they were outsourced to agencies, and I didn't think they had internal staff. So I spent 8 months with that team, and it was fantastic. Unfortunately, Stephen wasn't there at the time, so hopefully we can network and chat. And after that, I took an internship with the Magic. So I was right back in Orlando, and they were fortunate enough to review my portfolio and saw what I did with the Buccaneers. And I've basically been there ever since. I had a small stint with the Falcons when my internship ended there, so I've been in a few different leagues, and I've seen how marketing has changed in the last 3 or 4 years. And then with the Magic now, I work in creative services, so we're a small internal house team that we do all the print and marketing, and digital is actually housed by our web department, and then we have a broadcast production department. So we work synonymously together to create the show and to do all the print marketing that you see around Orlando.
Nice, cool. What's going on, guys? I'm Steven. I'm a video, like Josh said, I'm a video producer for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I got my start here, again, as he mentioned, in '09 is when I graduated with a film degree. Sports marketing wasn't even around yet, so I've kind of been able to watch a little bit of via social media and talking to folks, kind of see what you guys are up to, and it's very impressive, and it's awesome to see kind of how the program not only has started but continue to grow and be relevant. And I think I speak for all of us. We're excited the work that you guys are doing and the work that you guys will continue to do. But as far as my story, graduated in '09 with a film degree, and I, after college, just started sort of mass sending out resumes, which maybe you guys have already experienced that. Maybe you guys are already starting that. Anybody that would take me. I made a wish list of where I wanted to go. Maybe Denver, maybe North Carolina, anywhere in North Carolina, maybe the Northeast. And I settled in one of probably my top spot in the state of North Carolina, a small market, High Point. If anybody's a furniture fan, High Point's huge for the furniture market yearly. But yeah, never heard of it, but I was like, sign me up, I'm gonna go. It was with a local Fox affiliate, WGHP, and I was a photographer, basically a one-man band, which we go out and we shoot, we write, and we edit the news. And it was a great job for me because I graduated in film, but I wasn't really ready for what the real world had to. Full Sail prepares you in a great way. They get your hands on the gear, they get your used to the lingo and all that good stuff. But I still felt like I needed a little bit of help as far as news, because I wasn't a news guy, I was a film guy. So I get there and they taught me for 3 months. It was essentially a paid internship. They kept me on afterwards, and I was able to go out and, like I said, shoot, write, edit the news, and whether it was car crashes, whether it was going to the governor's mansion to talk politics, whatever, it really allowed me a lot of awesome opportunities. ACC tournament, with March Madness, that was also big up there, Tournament Town in Greensboro. But was there for 5 years, and then recently I got this job last year. I came back down to Florida, got a job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and my job is similar. Instead of doing stuff mainly for broadcast, now I'm doing a lot of stuff for the website, for Buccaneers.com. We still dabble in broadcast. We do a lot of stuff for the big screen on game day. If you guys have ever been to Bucs games, you've probably seen a piece or two of mine. But it's been great. I mean, when the NFL, when the job came open, it was something that I sort of was like, is this something that I'm ready for? Is this something I can do? And I sent a resume out, put it on the back burner. Sure enough, got a phone call, which that's a lesson in itself to you guys. Never think that anything is out of your league.
Absolutely.
You never know, and Justin can tell you. I mean, you never know when somebody is looking for you, exactly you. But got the phone call and came on down, and it's just been, we're a house right now of 3. Like Justin said, with the Magic, everything is in-house. We've got 3 producers. We do everything from the game day stuff, a little bit of television, and mostly website. What player features, locker room interviews, things like that. A little bit of marketing campaigns, which I imagine we're going to be getting into quite a bit today. But it's been a blessing and a lot of fun. So there you go.
I'm Teresa Tatlonghari, Vice President of Marketing for Orlando City Soccer Club. I've been with the club for 2.5 years. Also was with the advertising agency for the club prior to that. So I've been working with the brand for 3 years now. So I've seen them through the minor league years into Major League Soccer, and have been a part of the growth for the past 3 years. It's been a really interesting, wild ride, to say the least, getting here. And 2 weeks ago was pretty monumental for the city and for the club as well, to have our first game in the league. My background is advertising. I was a media buyer for 15 years, working for local advertising agencies. Went into account service, brand strategy, working on clients like Subway, Planet Fitness, a lot of national brands, and landed at an agency where Orlando City was a client of mine. And a lesson there for me was work your butt off and people will notice. And I got hired on to be a part of this startup and be a part of the vision. So was a great compliment to be brought on board, and really had a big hand in building the brand really from the ground up. There wasn't a lot of any sort of knowledge of the club or the brand in the marketplace when I started. And so it's been a really great experience to be a part of building this club.
I think we should take one moment, one short digression. What a start they've had, right? I mean, 63,000 in the building, sold it out, all kinds of attention in sports business magazines like Sports Business Journal. Won their first game this past week against the Houston Dynamo. So congratulations to you and everything you guys have been able to build quickly, and joining the Magic here in Central Florida as another major league team. In hearing all of you guys talk about your backgrounds, none of you started out in sports, which I find pretty fascinating. It's something that we're trying to bake into the fabric, is that when all of these skills are skills that can apply to sports, and we're trying to cast it in a sports background. And yet, not only did you not start in sports, your roles are all very different, and yet they all integrate. So can you describe what you do on a day-to-day basis and how your roles integrate with the other people who are on the panel and the roles that they would play in your organization?
I can start. My role pretty much touches every department in the club, from corporate partnerships and working with our partners to develop promotions or strategic tie-ins. We have a strong hand in that. We have a very large hand in game day operations as far as the overall programming of game day. We take great pride as a department to make sure that the game day experience is very reflective of the brand and the brand experience. Ticket sales, I work very closely with, obviously, to help market the brand, market the club, promotions, ticket drivers, all of that kind of stuff. I come from a retail background in advertising, so I am always forever throwing ideas out and bouncing stuff off of our ticket sales department. And then, obviously coordinating very closely with our communications department because we pretty much work hand in hand together. Social media promotions, video content, anything like that. We also produce every event for the club. So we had 5 events the first week of our game, and our department produced a 5K, a record-breaking pub crawl, movie night, a fashion show, and that was just a group of 5 of us that put that together, and we worked nonstop around the clock for that.
The amazing thing, and to kind of pick up where Teresa left off, the amazing thing, at least for us, is, she said only 5 people do most of these events, and you may be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be, at how few people are, have their hands in these gigantic things, whether they're marketing campaigns, events, things like that, and really ambitious projects. The way the workflow works with the Buccaneers, with my position, is typically, and we actually just got a new VP of marketing. They will, have a directive, whether it's, we want to pump up this player, we want to pump up this vibe, this feel, and then that directive will make its way down to our creative services department, our video department, and we will carry it out. So let's say, right now we're in talks for next year as far as a new brand campaign. What's the feel that we're going for? How do we want to really get to our fan base? How do we want to capture the feel of not only Tampa Bay, but really all of Florida? I mean, we don't want to put ourselves in a bubble where we're just trying to get people that are down the street. We want Tampa Bay, we want the Buccaneers to be a brand that's Florida-wide, nationwide, across the board. So every year, whether it's whose face is on the tickets, who are we featuring in the videos, the TV spots, things like that, those are all things that are directives that come down to us. And then how do we work with the gear, the cameras, the sound, all that stuff? How do we integrate, get that message across? How do we storyboard it out and then put the final stamp of approval on it and get that out to market? Yeah.
Basically, to steal what Teresa and Steven said, to echo their sentiments, in creative services, we are cohesive with everybody. So we work with all different departments, ticket sales, corporate partnerships. But for me, particular, my day-to-day job is I'm really just in the trenches. So I have to take what the marketing managers and the directors come up with from a campaign standpoint, whether it's renewal campaign, which we're in right now for next year's season tickets, or if you have seen our Pure Magic campaign, if you come to any of the games recently, or throughout Central Florida during the season. So we're going into our second campaign. So how do we refresh that brand? How do we incorporate new graphics and potential draft picks that we're going to be having, and how do we incorporate these players? So for me, I'm on a day-to-day job where I'm creating the playbill that's going to be give out at every game. I'm working with ticket sales. They need new flyers to help promote renewals. Or corporate partnerships is bringing on a potential partner that could be utilized in-game, but it's also in print, it's demand web. So how do we come up with their own style and still marry their brand that fits the Magic brand as well? So for me, it's very exciting to work on that fan engagement aspect. How do we get fans excited to come to the Magic? How do we, when you pick up a playbill, do you look at the cover and say, wow, I really love looking at Nikola Vucevic, and this is a sweet photo, and you go through and you see the stories and infographics. So every day I kind of put on a different hat, and I have to transition, sometimes pretty fast. Usually during the season, when we're in full swing, we have anywhere from 1,000 creative jobs in creative services that touch all facets of the company. So it can be pretty busy, but I couldn't be happier. It's such a fun time, and I'm sure these two can echo my sentiments that sports is it's an ever-changing monster, and you have to adapt to, especially digital now, and then just how things are changing. Apps, mobile, we all have iPhones. How do we push that market, and how do we evolve interactive print? So it's definitely fun for sure.
I'm so glad you brought up the word engagement, because that's what being a sports property is all about, right? Engaging the fans. I had a conversation with one of our students a couple of months ago who is from Venezuela, who came here and went to a Magic game and commented to me about how he felt that I'm going to use the word assaulted. It's not, but as soon as he stepped out of his car, he was a part of that experience. And compared to at home in Venezuela, you go to the game, you watch the game for 2 hours, it's over, you go home. Whereas at a Magic game, at a Bucks game, at an Orlando City game, from the moment you're on the property, you are a part of something. So how do you use that word, engagement? How is the strategy approached when you talk about getting that person who's coming for one game so that he can or she can be engaged for longer and buy tickets to more games? And how do you convince that one who's coming for several games to become a season ticket holder? What are the key elements there, and what are your objectives when you're approaching that question?
I'll start this one off if you guys are okay with that. From a video perspective, particularly right now, we have a lot of exciting things going on. The Bucks are going into their 40th season. We've got the #1 draft pick, which I know that goes to the worst team, right? But still, we choose to embrace that, and that's something. Again, that's sort of a lesson to all of you guys that you may be dealt. This is out of our control. I mean, the guys on the field are you're sort of reliant on them to a point anyway to pay your bills, because I mean the money, it all trickles down, right? Like Josh said, we're trying to bring everybody into the stadium. We're trying to capture that interest, get it and keep it long term. So right now we've got a lot of exciting things going on, and from a video perspective, what I was hired to do was tell the team's story, and I've always felt that a good story can really play on your emotion. It tugs at your heartstrings, whether you're laughing, you're crying, you're pumped, you're sad, whatever. It's all about that. And so if you walk away, whether it's a television spot or a piece that you see on Gerald McCoy on the website, it's something that's going to, hopefully anyway, if I'm doing my job correctly, it's grabbing you and you're taking something away from it. And whether, we hope that's you're going to buy a jersey. We hope that's you're going to go to a game. Maybe you'll buy season passes, club member, whatever the case may be. You're going to be proud of that piece. You're going to be proud of that graphic, those colors, that vibe, and you're going to want to embrace it and embrace it long term.
And to kind of build upon what Steven just said, from a fan engagement standpoint, you come to games, let's be honest, to be entertained. Of course, you want to see your favorite player and you want to see a team that's coming, but for me, just going to a game and seeing people that have never been to a professional basketball game or football or soccer, and they see, wow, you come here, timeouts, we have something going on, the mascot's doing something, the players are putting legendary moments out there. So for me, when you have fans are excited about your brand, what you're bringing, and regardless of record, because obviously, teams go up and down. It's the nature of the business, and we're here to engage everybody and make them excited. What's going to bring you back? Story is a huge part of our Orlando Magic brand, whether it's the Heart and Hustle team, whether it's our Pure Magic team now with our young generation that we're growing. It's fun. And from a creative standpoint, how do I put all that together? How do I make something that's entertaining, that's fun, that's going to say, hey, if you pick this up, I like this. And if you see something else, I don't like that. So how do I keep our brand together and then just make it exciting, different from year to year, because we do a lot of the same projects. So how do we rethink it? How do we get outside the box? We work with our broadcast department, and we have great marketing managers at the Magic that have research and analytics and know, okay, well, we did this last year. It may not have worked. Let's go in a different direction. Let's target tourism. Let's expand from Central Florida, and let's get global like the NBA is. It's the, I believe, second largest global sport next to soccer. So it's really it's a challenge to bring entertainment, but at the end of the day, as long as you leave Amway Center or any of the stadiums that you attend with a smile on your face, we know that we're doing something right and that people will come back regardless of what the team looks like and what the performance is. And as long as you're happy, that's the ultimate goal for sports and entertainment.
So our approach is a little different in that we don't have timeouts. We have a halftime at it's 15 minutes long, but there are no breaks in the play. And so we have a very strong brand approach that we want to remain authentic to the sport. And worldwide, it's about what's going on in the field. So we have our fan zones. We have all kinds of stuff going on pregame. But when it comes down to it, it's about what's going on in the field. And we pay homage to that. We don't allow our mascot on the field. We don't allow him in the stands during gameplay because we want to encourage fans to enjoy the sport for what it is. And it's simply because we don't have those breaks and we don't want to take away from what's going on down there. So from an engagement standpoint, we're really trying to balance what maybe the American perception is of a sporting event versus what is authentic to the sport of soccer, and bringing that to the U.S. because that's important. That's a finding that Major League Soccer found early on in their days, was that, you know, hardcore fans want a taste of what is out there in the world, and so we want to be bringing something that's authentic to Orlando. Also, just from an authenticity standpoint, we try really hard to just maintain that nonstop. So it's tough educating people on how that process works with our partners or whatnot, but it's something that pays dividends in the game day experience, and it does make us a little different than what you would normally expect to see. We had somebody a couple weeks ago, they water the field at halftime because even though it's an artificial turf, they still water the pitch. And we had somebody put something on social media about why was the halftime show people with hoses on the field? Like, okay, education. So you know, it's an interesting dynamic, but it's really fun too. And what it does allow us to do is really get people involved in what's going on, because the one thing that you'll see when you go to a game is it's about what's going on in the field, and then you have these crazy fans that are also in the south end, and they're part of the show too, because what they're doing is pretty amazing too. They have giant banners, they do streamers, and they do all kinds of fun stuff, and it's fun to sit and watch what they're doing because you never know what's going to happen next. So it's very organic and very, just let happen what's going to happen. And what we're there for as a marketing department and from a game day presentation standpoint is to create that petri dish to let that magic kind of happen and not force it. Just let it happen on its own. So over the next year or so, it'll be really interesting to see with the growth in the fan base how that all develops and how organically some of that stuff occurs.
And if I could have a quick second, Josh, the work that you guys have done. My girlfriend and I were driving up from Tampa, obviously, and just the billboards themselves. Like, I'm jacked up. I'm a casual soccer fan. I'm slowly becoming a gigantic Orlando City fan. Purple looks great, purple and gold, great logo and everything. But just the billboards, I don't even necessarily understand them all, but they are so cool, and it makes me want to. The job that you guys have done on social media. Hopefully, you guys are following them because it's really, really awesome stuff. And they're publishing the fact that it's a sellout. The wall, I'm not sure what exactly the wall
That's what
is.
the supporters said.
Okay, is that the crazy fans that you're?
Crazy fans, yeah.
Okay, so like that stuff, they're pumping it up. Let's get, for the people that have no idea what Orlando City is, what the culture's like. Let's get it out there, and it's something again that I'm still a little bit ignorant of, but I'm quickly trying to soak it in because it just seems like the coolest thing. And the fact that you guys have a soccer team here, a professional soccer team, that's awesome. And just across the board, whether it's social media, television, billboards, all that stuff. I mean, that emotion, you guys have done an awesome job with it.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
And I'm sure that's our former intern, Matt Stone, over in Orlando City.
Actually, he's our agency actually put the campaign together, but Matt does an amazing job. He actually designed our kick and cruiser, our street team vehicle.
I love that thing.
So, we have a very clear point of view. We take a very strong approach with our demographics, and it's a very strong millennial audience. And so we pretty much not ignore, but any of our paid efforts, any of our hard efforts are done visually and in mediums that will appeal to that audience. And we've just taken a really hard and strong stance on that because we know that that's where it's going to pay off for us. So we have a very really cool soccer savvy local agency that was important to me to align with an agency that got the sport, because most of the people we spoke to, equated what we were doing to what the NBA or the NFL is doing, and it is very different. So we wanted somebody overseeing our, some of our creative campaigns that got what our soccer fans were really interested in. So we recently hired them, and they've been responsible for these campaigns that we've been doing. And from an engagement standpoint, kind of go back to that, we've really tied our fans into our campaigns. Mm-hmm. And that's been a huge part of who we are as a brand, is embracing our fans and celebrating who they are, and the Viking and the Teletubby that go and hang out in the supporter section.
This guy knows. This guy.
He's well
He might be the Teletubby. I don't know.
The unicorn, he was on some boards. But then also there's, the mom and the dad with the kids. And it's all walks of life. But when they come together, they're part of something, that's part of something major. So
what's neat about that is it really marks an evolution in what's happened in sports media and sports marketing, and that, you guys referred earlier to the bringing everything being brought in-house. That's new. I mean, things have evolved so much over the last 2 years, 5 years, 10 years that inform that philosophy. And I'd be interested, Teresa, in hearing what you think about having been able to see that evolution, both from the agency side and from the property side, and how it informs that philosophy. Because it's different than it would have been had you started this team 5 years ago, I think. Sure. And to hear how it informs your philosophies and your roles in marketing and the stuff that you do for marketing as well.
Well, I think there's a lot of day-to-day stuff that you just have to have in-house people to handle. The flyers and the collateral. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of collateral that has to be done to run a team, from your corporate partnerships department to your ticket sales department and everything in between. But having outside resources is important for bringing in new ideas and for, just kind of checking yourself, because you do. I think the one thing that I brought to the table when I came to the club was that I wasn't a diehard sports fan. I didn't think the whole world revolved around the world of sports. And so I would constantly check myself and say, we think this is a big deal, but maybe nobody else does.
Right.
And having an outside resource that can kind of bring that thought process in and go, maybe you're just a little too close to it and you need to rethink this a little bit. So it's good to have those outside resources, but really for the day-to-day, you're better off and you're more efficient and you save yourself money if you do it in-house, because, outsourcing everything gets very pricey.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and that's really the key. I think the pessimistic way to look at it, at least in my opinion, is it's budget cuts, which it may be a fact of life, but at the same time, and every company is different. That doesn't, just because people choose to do it in-house doesn't necessarily mean that finances are an issue. But coming from local news like I did, finances were an issue. So a lot of things, had to be, it seemed like every year, you're working with less and less and you're being asked to do more and more, which you guys should expect to do coming out, at least have that ability. But the optimistic side, in my opinion, is you understand the culture. She mentioned a lot, it was important to them to have people that really got the soccer culture. And, what they were finding was that so many people were NBA-oriented, no offense, NFL-oriented.
Yeah, it's
NFL-oriented, and there's just, it's very important to have people, one thing that we love about being able to do our own work and kind of have a large amount of creative control over our stuff.
Visions too.
Yeah, exactly. And you get, hopefully anyway, you're employing people and you're around people that understand the culture. They understand the market, the feel. I keep saying the word, the vibe. I mean, it's that whole essence that goes into it. And if you're bringing in, people that really have no idea, they have no business being there, then it's going to reflect.
And I'll just also add to it, to be 100% honest, most of the stuff we do has to be turned around in 2 to 3 days, and an outside resource won't be able to pull that off for you. So our in-house guys, they may get a job, and that day you've probably cranked out a video or two. And
maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice.
I worked till 12, so I had to knock out some stuff before I got here to find people. But to build upon everything that was said, we work with an agency as well, but we still, at least in creative services, we're at about 85 to 90% of all the internal stuff that we have to do on a day-to-day basis. So they assist with the video side and in-game entertainment with that side of the business, but they also help with our Pure Magic campaign last season. So with us, we have to take everything that we have as a brand style guide and then put it all across all mediums that we work with, from collateral to web to everything. So it helps to have that agency to rely upon for certain things if they have longer deadlines. But for us, when we have that 24-hour turnaround, or I need this in an hour, this is just the high priority entourage email. You're like, oh, okay, this needs to get done now. It can be tough to have an agency to pick up certain day-to-day operations. But overall, it's a very unique dynamic with what we do in creative services, because the amount of jobs and volume, it can get a little stressful. But at the end of the day, you look at how fans react and how you do things differently. And what I loved about the Magic when I came back, I've been here almost going on 5 years now, is we hire the best and we work with the best people. Everybody's working to one common goal, regardless of what hat you wear in the company as a role. We all work to that one common goal, and it's exciting to have people that you can just sit and talk with and know that, okay, they embrace your vision and we're gonna make it happen, whether you disagree or agree. We all are here for the same purpose, and that I'm sure that's the same with all these companies right here for sure.
I want to dig into this topic of the agency relationship a little bit. How do you guys? What's it like when you guys all brainstorm for ideas, or is it that you don't have the time to brainstorm for ideas because when you're in season, the needs are so immediate and so pressing that there isn't always that time to do some sort of, mid-range or long-range, creative retreat? And so how do you balance that need for finding creativity from within your organization and what you're willing to give in terms of bandwidth for an agency to go poke around and play around?
For us, if you guys don't mind me jumping in, we do tip-off meetings. So we get our creative services team, web, marketing, broadcast production, and we literally will sit down. We'll get the brief. We'll get what we want the campaign to go for, and what we're looking to do. And we'll have the agency come in direct, or we'll do teleconference calls. And that gives us some time to really brainstorm and come up with the ideas, or if there's already a vision in place, how we're going to lay out that roadmap to see, okay, these are deadlines. We want to see little bits here, little pieces here, and this is our final launch date. So usually summer we get really busy because we're automatically planning for the next season. So right now we're hot and heavy, where season's coming to an end, and we're already steamrolling 3 months ahead to what we have to accomplish for the upcoming NBA season. So with these tip-off meetings, it's great to get all the creatives together, to get marketing, to get everybody in one room and just kind of see what everybody's looking to accomplish and what they value. And then once we finish that, we have a set goal and deadline, and then we'll have meetings to show what we have, whether it's creative, whether it's radio drops or commercials that we want to look at. And then in creative services, we'll do our own little brainstorm. We go to Starbucks, or we'll go to, we have an innovation lab where the company gets together, and it's very, very full sail. You guys would love it. It's colors everywhere, unique seating. So we can sit down and just kind of check in, take off your badge. Doesn't matter where you work in the company. All ideas are credible, and there's no wrong idea. And we can really sit and kind of let go and just come up with great ideas and really get the creative juices flowing. So that part of my job is really exciting, is getting everybody together and see what we can come up with and make it work.
With the Buccaneers, I mean, it's similar. We don't necessarily do the cool Starbucks thing, but at the same time, I mean, it's representatives. It's different representatives from different parts of the building. We're actually coming up on it right now. Being that it's the off season, like sort of the casual football fan, or even the casual fan of an organization or whatever, you may think that football kind of falls off the map once the Super Bowl's over. But right now, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. We're currently trying to hammer out a deal for some local TV shows, as far as how we want to program it, what we want to do, and then the big brand campaign, which is what we're talking about. That's something that in the coming weeks, all pitches are sort of going to come to the forefront. And anything, it's like Justin said. I mean, it's all ideas are welcome. And for you guys, what I would sort of suggest, since our organization is very similar to Justin's, there's not much I can add to his point. But what I would suggest to you guys is, don't just look at if you love football, don't just look at football stuff. Don't just look at
Go to all sports.
yeah. Don't go to all sports. Go to anything. Go
Just look at anything.
What's
Not
your-
even
the agencies
sports.
themselves too, right?
Yeah.
That work with the
Take
Right.
inspiration from what's hot.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, look at anything and everything. What's your favorite album? What's your favorite movie? What do you like about it? Your favorite brand of shoes. Why do you like it? Angles, colors.
There's messaging with everything.
Right, and I mean, and that's
figure that
all
out.
stuff. That's all stuff that these guys that is brought to the table. You know, whether you're trying to figure out the people to use, the music to use, the story, but anything. It's all things that are factored in, and then that's truly what can make it great. Because if you're looking at what another NFL team has done, it's been done.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and some people make the argument that there's no original ideas, which may or may not be true, but you're able to, if you're pulling something from, you know, some David Lynch movie or some, you know, something that's kind of off the wall, people may take a second look at it because, okay, that's not like every other NFL ad that I've seen, or that's not like every other MLB or MLS. It's unique, and that's really what that's, in my opinion, that's really what draws people in. What's different? What's going to get me to look? Because after a while, everything becomes super saturated.
I agree. Taking chances, that's something that we've been really big on, and I encourage that with my team every day. Is, you know, no, I always joke around. There's no bad idea, and then I'll go accept that one. No. But no, we do a lot of internal. We haven't recently done a lot of internal gathering of minds and brainstorming, but we do a break every other week where we go out to a local non-chain restaurant and have, you know, lunch. Something that's very Orlando focused, because we are very much about Orlando and we want to make sure we stay to those roots. We have a pub in the office, so there might be a little beer drinking once in a while, and that always helps with
Not to bring that
the
idea back.
creative ideas.
People loosen up a little bit.
They
there.
do. They do. You know, so we definitely, you know, do that stuff. We work hard, we play hard. That's kind of our mantra. A lot of inspiration coming from the ad world. I quickly said, I don't just want to see sports ideas. I don't want you pulling everything that other sports teams are doing. I want to see what's hot out there. I want to see what are the hot colors right now. Of course, purple's always going to be in the mix, but you know, what else is going on? What's in the digital world? What are some ideas? What's something cutting edge that's going on? And then taking pieces of that and how does that apply to us? You know, there aren't any new ideas, but there's also a new iteration of an idea, and there's always a way to kind of make it you, and that's where, you know, we are with that. Now, with our agencies, the same thing. We brainstorm with them just the same way we brainstorm with each other, and we throw ideas out at them, and we collectively all come up with ideas. And I think it's really important that you do take ideas from all different walks of life, because just because I think something's cool doesn't mean that, you know, somebody next to me is going to. And it's like you gotta pull it all together. And great ideas come from many different places. I think that's just the one takeaway. I don't just limit it to our marketing department. We bring a lot of people into the mix whenever we're looking at, you know, how we're going to launch a campaign.
For you two guys who came into sports as artists or as content creators, when did you realize that your ability to create art or to create content had, you know, saleable qualities? And do you still think of yourself, you know, when you think about where you started, and I don't really know where you started, maybe you had always thought you would use your art for commercial reasons, but when did you get comfortable using that ability for business purposes? And do you still feel like being an artist informs who you are and how you approach your professional role?
I'll let you start.
Awesome. It's deep. Honestly, when I was working here, many of you probably had or spoken to Eric Rosenfeld, one of my favorite professors here, and he said, and I'm not going to quote it verbatim, it's been a while, but you're going to do 1,000 bad designs before you do a good design. And that resonated with me from day one, because I'm probably stuck around 750. I don't think I've reached 1,000 yet. It's hard. Sometimes you can get creatively burnt out, and where do you go for inspiration? So when I was here, I knew I wanted to go into commercial graphic design. I wanted to design, whether it's for clothing or I really wanted to do movies and movie posters. I love film, so I'm like, this is where I want to go. Why aren't you going to film? What? I like the design side. So I went towards that, and then when I was trained here and saw the avenues and then the partnerships that were coming with ESPN and WWE, that was right when I was graduating, I knew like this school is building and getting bigger. So I knew that I had that on my resume saying, yeah, I was trained here, and I know that I have that real world experience. So when I started just media blitzing out my resume and I got the call for, hey, there's internships with the Buccaneers, I jumped right at it. And I'm a huge advocate for social media. So you'll find me Dribble, Twitter, Behance, Toreflow, everything. So if you're in design and media, use Vimeo. Just get your name and media out there, because it's about brands now. So it's about you as an individual and as a brand. How can you get your name out there and show your work? Yes, your work may need to be a little bit more tailored, but you're going to tailor it specifically to a job you're applying for. So I worked day and night, burning the candle at both ends, trying to get my portfolio ready for sports, ready for an agency, ready for just anything I knew I wanted to apply for and to get out there and stay in design and medium. So once I took that drive up to One Buck Place, I was like, okay, this is real. I know that if I bust my tail, I can really be successful and just grind, and then make good connections, network with everyone you can. So even today, I use portfolio uses to look at internships. We're going to have interns coming this summer for graphic designers. So I try to keep connections with students, with Valencia, with other colleges around the country, just to see like what's new, what's non-traditional, what's traditional, and then to stay relevant, to get that creative experience and keep the juices flowing. And I still have to pinch myself when I walk into the arena, like, wow, like this is my job, like this is real. I'm still growing and learning in design, but I know that I have the foundations that I learned here and then from my previous experiences, that the sky's the limit, and whatever you want to dream, just dream big, and you can get it done, for sure.
If I'm understanding the question correctly, the first time that I felt comfortable using my skills in a business setting or for a business purpose, quite frankly, is when somebody said, okay, cool, we're going to use that. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's, I think what it ultimately comes down to for me is if you have an idea, believe in it. And okay, that's cliche, that's garbage. But what I mean by that is, you may have something that's a little bit out there. You may have, like we were talking about earlier, if you're looking in other outlets and you're coming up with something that's a little bit different and off the wall, there's going to be certain people that you're going to come across. They're going to say, that's too different. We don't like that. We don't even understand it. So, but if you're able to, it's all in how you market it. It's all in how you explain it. It's all the way that you're able to defend it and make your work. Basically, bring people to your side.
Practice makes perfect too.
Yeah.
Especially in the programs that we use. Just train, and then you'll be fast. You'll be lightning fast at what you do from a program standpoint.
We were up in the Buccaneers we got new uniforms last year. So we went up to, I was lucky enough to be able to go up to Nike and document a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. And Nike is sort of a case in point for the point that I'm trying to make. It's not, where our colors are red and pewter. And it wasn't just red, it was a futuristic red. And it wasn't just pewter, it was a deeper, richer pewter. And they have all these, these stories behind the angles of the font and all this stuff. It's a swashbuckler's sword, and that's why there's angles. And it's whether or not that's actually what the designers were thinking, that's how they got it across to where you're like, yeah, I'm going to buy 10 of those jerseys right now. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's outstanding.
Okay, I didn't know if you were wrapping me.
No, I wasn't. I would keep going.
Yeah, but I mean, that's really what it is. If you have an idea, especially if it's out there, be ready to defend it. If you truly believe in it, be ready to defend it, because there's going to be certain people that want to believe you, but they're like, eh. And I'm actually going through this right now with these pitches, with brand campaign, things like that. I want to like your idea, but just give me more. I have concerns about this or whatever. Give me a little bit more about this, because a lot of times people just want to know that their own butts are covered. They want to know that there's a reason for what you're doing. So there you go.
By the way, how cognizant is he of production quality? He thought I was rapping when I was just sort of trying to follow along with the conversation. He's always aware. One thing that all of your organizations have in common, I think you guys are all at the forefront of starting to explore new territories of fan, getting outside the local municipalities. The Magic, you guys have explored the fan base in Brazil quite a
Yeah.
bit over the last year and a half, 2 years. The Bucks have ownership of a pretty well-known soccer team in Europe, and of course, Orlando City comes to us with the owner. The primary owner is a Brazilian, sort of blending both of them. The founder and the managing partner is from Stoke City in the UK, and there's connections to Burnley and other clubs as well. So how do you there's a couple of different questions in here. One is, how do you reach outside the local area to reach to fans? And specifically, how do you use the resources of your fan base, of your ownership when they have other ownership in other leagues and other countries, to try to take the brand of Orlando City and the Bucks and the Magic to other countries and other cities?
I think that we have a unique opportunity because our players come from all over the world too. So signing Kaká drove our social media likes through the roof. That was just like an overnight, bump for us. But that certainly having team members that are from all over the globe. We have fans from El Salvador. We have fans from South America. We have them from England. And it's because they're fans of the players. They're fans of the people on our team. Keeping them fans of Orlando City is obviously top of mind for us. We've really just begun to scratch the surface. I mean, it's just really been a year that we've been really kind of working in this world. But we have over 750,000 Facebook likes on our Brazil page. And we have begun to cultivate that, and our communications team has a group of people that speak Portuguese, that communicate in Portuguese. So when we're out at events, we have people that speak those languages. We have stories written in Portuguese and English. We're really trying to expand from that perspective. And I think that it'll be interesting to see where we go over the next couple of years as we grow as a team too. We still have so much to build, even though we're here in Major League Soccer, we're still building the team.
For us, I mean, it's really not rocket science. Social media is huge. We recently, the Daytona 500 was just, I don't know if did anybody around here, did any of you guys go to the Daytona 500? Anybody pass through? Okay, all right.
A couple of nods out there.
Okay, cool, all right, subtle, I like it. But yeah, we were, we had the great opportunity we were invited to go out there. We had a few players go out there. And nothing is funnier than a bunch of 300-pound football players walking around a NASCAR track. It's about the last place, for me anyway, that I would expect to see them. NASCAR is huge, gigantic Twitter following just to start. So what we did that. We kind of drove that fish out of water narrative, and we were able to follow some of our bigger name players around the track. We were given Vince Vaughn was the grand marshal. Philip Phillips sang the national anthem. Kid Rock was the opening concert. So we were able to capture great visuals that anybody can connect with. And we were able to obviously document our players through this really, really cool experience. You put the hashtag NASCAR or at Daytona 500 or whatever, whatever anybody's Twitter handle is, immediately we've got so many more people watching a piece like that. If we're up at the draft, anybody is particularly with the #1 pick, a lot of people are curious about what the Bucs are doing, even if they're not Buccaneer fans, because Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, polarizing people, good and evil, if you will. There's all kinds of different events, places, and social media. Really, I mean, there's not a whole lot to overthink there. I mean, you put it out there, and you're able to instantly connect, and people are like, oh yeah, I've seen the Bucs. Oh yeah, they were here. They were doing this, that. So that's really a great place to start, and it's something that all of you guys have access to.
I mean, for us at the Magic, we're always trying to expand to the global market. We have a massive Spanish following, so OrlandoMagic.com is translated into Spanish. But I think we do great target marketing and just great marketing to different demographics from our game-day experience. So we have India Day, we have Noche Latina, so we do post-game concerts. So it really reaches out to a wide range of fans, especially across the world, and especially in Brazil. As Josh stated, we have a huge Brazilian fan base. We recently had a partnership with Brazilian tourism. So in their summer and the winter, they travel up to Orlando. So they come to NBA, they come to soccer. So that's their vacation time. And I feel the sky's the limit from all sports. Sports is global, whether you follow all different mediums or just particular NBA, NFL, MLS. you're going to gravitate towards it. You want to experience it. You want to go. You want to have that memory with family and friends and connect with the stars that are larger than life. So I think it's only going to get bigger from all sports mediums, and especially at the Magic, we're continuing to research and connect. And how do we bring it deeper? How do we bring that emotion? How do we tell that story of what we're trying to sell, and then be the team for the fans, since the fans are always coming first.
One of the reasons I'm glad you guys went so deep on that is because, Teresa, you sort of intimated earlier, you have an obligation to educate fans about a game that has not been around the United States for very long, and certainly not in Orlando for very long. And when you guys talk about exporting the American games and importing what have traditionally not been American games, and we've seen even further development of that over the summer, right? We had rugby on NBC Sports. We had, if you looked at ESPN over the last couple of weeks, they've had cricket on the front page of ESPN.com. So we see that with all the sports networks that are out there now, that there's seems to be some viability, or at least some interest in exploring some new sports that we can import, and continuing to see growth opportunities as we export. So are those the biggest areas for growth in the next few years in sports and sports marketing? If not, what are some of the ones that you guys see?
I think, kind of to build upon what Steven said, social media and then just digital content is exploding. I mean, with all the apps, with Snapchat and everything that's coming out now, it makes it easier for you to have things mobile and to walk and see highlights. ESPN is great at pushing constant material on different platforms all across different mediums. We have an Orlando Magic app that you can download that, tease with Amway Center, what's happening, dates, concerts at Amway Center, Citrus Bowl, everywhere around Orlando and around the nation. I think it's only going to get bigger, Josh, and just different mediums and how it's exploding so fast. And how do you leverage those, and how do you make partnerships, and how do you get innovative and think differently?
The NFL actually has a digital summit, which is coming up here pretty soon, and it really focuses a lot on that. The NFL Now app, which I'm not sure if anybody here has that, it came out right around this time last year when the digital summit was taking place, and it's all about getting all of the NFL, all the clubs, whether it's a specialized team's website, whether it's stuff that NFL Network does, anything that has to do with your team, you can personalize your feed, and it's all right there, right in front of you. It's whether it's commercials, player features, whether it's full game highlights, anything like that. And it's something that it's very amoebic right now. They were able to launch it, but it's something that's still. We're really excited about it. They're really excited about it because the sky's pretty much the limit with it, with what you can send to it and how you're able to kind of leverage it for fan engagement, fan interaction, whether it's maybe contests down the road, whether it's giveaways, things like that. You're able to do a lot of stuff with, and we're continuing to find those things out.
I would say along the same lines, and my point of view is always making young people fans for life. Fans of the sport, fans of the team, and obviously digital definitely plays into that, and how not just kids but young adults become engaged, and their consumption of media is so different than how I grew up. Right. So I grew up in a place, in a time when I was, media was thrown at me and I just watched whatever was there. Now, people can choose what they want to watch, and they can program, what they watch on their computers based on, what they specifically like. So it's quite interesting, but I think, really our goal is to continue to make the youth and the young people fans of the club and fans of the sport for life, and really cultivating that.
All right, one more question from me, and then we'll open it up to you guys. But knowing that we have so many people out in this audience who want to work in sports, both with us and online, the program director in me has to ask, what do you look for when you're hiring? Or what do you look for if you don't hire, what do you look for when you have a new team member come on your team and we say, oh yeah, that guy, that girl, they're going to be okay?
Somebody who's willing to work really hard, and know that at the end of the day, what you do, you're putting out a product. And like you said, you go into the arena, you go into the stadium, and you look out and you go, wow, I had a hand in this. But it doesn't go without a lot of work. I think we averaged about 120 hours that week right before our first game, each person. We worked our butts off. You just have to get the job done. So for me, it's people with a great attitude and who are willing to work and know that, at the end of the day, they're just passionate about what they do. They're passionate about putting forth a good creative product. They're passionate about the sport. They're passionate about the brand. And that's what matters to me.
I point out that there are at least 3, I think 4 with you guys from sports marketing specifically as well, though I think down to 3 because one just left. Mm-hmm. One turned trader and went to NYCFC. But she's doing great, so we're happy for her too.
One of my favorite stories when I was actually in class here, somebody was sending out resumes. The story's kind of become diluted over the years, but basically somebody received a resume and it had a tennis ball with it. About a month later, another resume, another tennis ball, and it had a name written on it, Steve, let's say. So after weeks were going by, and the same resume, same tennis ball, same name, and then finally this guy started coming into the TV station where he was trying to apply to. Same deal, tennis ball, resume, name, all that stuff. And then finally he got to know the receptionist that was sitting behind the desk, and she finally was like, I don't know if she got bugged, she was bugged by him, bothered by him, or she was just, had taken a liking to him, but she basically said, hey, Steve, I got you a meeting with the general manager. Don't say anything, don't advertise it or whatever, but, be here next week at 2 o'clock, and I've got you a sit down. I can't promise you anything, but I got you a sit down. So when Steve walks through the door to meet the general manager, he says, hey, I'm Steve, I'm on the ball. Right? And so that's nice. Sort of something that's memorable. Some might call it cheesy. It's a risk that you take, but it's something that's memorable about Steve in this case. We had a guy with the Buccaneers who sent a brand new pair of Under Armour cleats. Now that I've got my foot in the door, is what he writes on his cover letter. That's the stuff that kind of makes you memorable. But aside from all that, like Teresa said, when it's time to actually work. Don't be afraid of the long hours. They're going to be there. Whether you're to borrow the cliche, getting coffee, or you're going through design after design, mock-up after mock-up. Embrace that, because people are noticing. Even if you're not getting thanked, even if you're not being, you're not given the accolades, people are noticing. Whenever we have, as Josh said, whenever we have a new hiree, I'm not the one hiring them, but I always notice this guy stayed late and helped me. This guy responded to my email after hours. This girl is always has her hands in everything. She's always making sure everybody has what they need. It's very important, and especially when you guys are getting out there, depending on where you guys go, it's something that really can separate yourself, and especially when you feel like, oh, there's so many of me, I'm going to get lost out there. There's so many people that are at the bottom of the totem pole, but no, you're going to separate yourself very quickly, and people will notice that you're a worker if you just basically put your mind to it.
Absolutely. I mean, when I go through and look at resumes for interns in design, just for me, since that's my medium, I want somebody who's determined, who knows that they want to come in, and you already know your passion as you applied for it, and I can see that in people's work and what you do from a visual standpoint. So as long as you believe in yourself and you're determined and you're going to work hard, and like Steven said, answering the emails after hours and putting in that extra time, or just even staying late to help somebody, that it's going to set yourself apart. And then when you apply for jobs, and the job you're at now, or when you graduate, you'll have that recommendation. People will go to bat for you and say, hey, Sarah was fantastic. She did this and that, and then Steve worked really hard here. So having that, building that personal brand, is going to be key to success. And then for me, I want to see people who have different thinking. So I don't want to see a Word document of, here's your resume. You need to set yourself apart from the stats of resumes, especially digital. So I try to make sure that when I look, who's setting themselves apart, who has a unique design, who has a leave behind when they come to an interview. When you leave, when I was in the Falcons, one of the interviewees left me a little plush stretch football, and I still have it because it's great. It sits right on my desk, and I'm like, you know what? I know that was John, and he was great to work with. So little things that's going to make you separate from the crowd, because there's 1,000 people who want to knock on the door and really work for a sports team. And if you have that grind daily mentality and you believe in yourself and you really utilize LinkedIn, social media, get that online resume portfolio, have those references on that resume, you're going to do great things. As long as you work hard for it, it's going to happen for sure.
I'll just say one other thing. When I hired Matt, the graphic designer, I interviewed 6 different potential graphic designers. Every single one of them were from UCF. Every single one of them submitted the same class project as their portfolio. So please, whatever you do, get some outside work, and even if it's spec work, show something else. Like, I've seen the same project over and over again. It's ridiculous. So I'm just putting that out there because I was like, he was the one that actually he brought in his own personal art. He showed me his style. He
blew
showed
me away personally because he was in the office and it was his last week. And so myself and our creative director, Kelly Romano, he was talking through what he wanted to do. So he built this box. And he had tickets in there that he hand drew a lion. It was before the logo was.
And it had purple and gold M&Ms in it too.
And we used our paper shredder in the office after hours, and we printed yellow and purple on either side and shredded them so it was confetti. So when you open the box, his portfolio sat in the box. And then he did, I think it was like a brick wall, just based on the grunge kind of guerrilla marketing on the inside. And then it looked solid. So that right there, mic drop. Here's my portfolio. Here's the leave behind. And then as long as you're a great interviewer, which I would recommend practicing with family and friends, because be able to public speak and be able to answer tough questions and have a good demeanor is going to go a long way. It's going to set yourself apart for sure. So especially if you're in content, digital, video, everything.
Well, and you want to show that you have diversity in your work. Matt's book was very much about the work that he had done with the Magic, and he had been, obviously out of school for a while, so he had things to show from that perspective. But honestly, I was looking for somebody with a little edge. And so when I started to look at his book online, I was like, okay, well, it's good. It doesn't have that rock and roll feel that I'm looking for. Everything we do has this little punch, this little edge to it. And then he brings this box and he shows his work, and he shows that he is a great illustrator outside of being a designer. So, showing that you have the ability to kind of conform and to do different things, it definitely lends itself to, to you getting hired somewhere. But please just don't take your schoolwork and put it in a book and say that's your portfolio.
No, definitely. You want to have your class projects and stuff, but once you're out of college for a year or two, you want to have, whether even it's, I don't want to call them fake, but spec work, or if you want to have some work in there that's may not be professional work, but you tailored a brand campaign to, a company, that's going to help to show that you can take one piece and spread that collateral all the way across. So you don't want to just have all your schoolwork. You want to have, whether it's a logo you did for a friend or freelance or video you did your cousin's wedding, anything that's going to show that you can diversify, you can be different and creative, and just show that you're willing to learn and adapt, and people will look into that and say, this person has what it takes for what we're looking for the position you're applying for.
So in the spirit of risk-taking, we encourage you guys to ask some questions now. If you're in the room, which you guys all are, raise your hand. Annie will bring the microphone to you. For those of you who are online, you can direct your question to the online moderator, and we will somehow get that up to me or read it, and we'll get your question read as well. But let's start right over here. I would like him to stand. Please stand.
Yeah, the lights.
And introduce yourself.
Right. My name is Pedro. I'm in sports marketing. I'm 7. It's a question to Teresa. Do you think that MLS is more famous nowadays due to like internationally, due to the sign of David Beckham, Kaká, David Villa, and other players, or is it something that would eventually happen?
I think it's definitely helped, but I also think that the composition of the country is obviously evolving, and the fact that we can watch international soccer at any time on TV, that definitely helps. When I was growing up, you didn't see soccer on TV. There was NFL and there was NBA, but there was not any soccer. So I couldn't form a connection with or learn anything about the sport of soccer except through maybe World Cup. So now you can turn on any number of sports channels and watch international soccer at any point. And I think just simply because our market is so diverse, but our country is diverse, and people come from all walks of life, that they're bringing that love of the sport to the United States. The job that we have here, is connecting with our local fans and getting them to love our team in addition to maybe their home country team.
Hi, my name's Tommy Bean. I'm a film student.
Tommy?
I was wondering whether we're film students or graphic designers or sports marketing. Are there currently any opportunities or opportunities that are coming up soon that there are any internships available for either of your teams?
I can definitely attest to that. During summer, I believe, probably towards the end of the season, April, May, we're going to start blitzing out all of our internships for the positions. So all departments, so video, web, creative services, marketing, you name it, we're going to have positions available. So I encourage everybody to apply. At least for our company, it's a little difficult because we are full-time, 40 hours a week, so it's kind of hard when you're already in school. So we try to look for those people who are post-grad, so that way we know that they're dedicated to have those extra days, longer hours, but it's full season. And I would definitely suggest if you go to OrlandoMagic.com, we'll do that every season. We have new class of interns. The camaraderie is great. We have an entire intern class. I believe we bring in about 20 to 25 interns, so all walks of life, all around the country. The creative services intern right now, he came from Spokane, Washington. So he drove all the way down to work with us at the Magic, and he's going to be leaving us soon. He just got a job offer in Beverly Hills, working for WME, which is a partner of I believe they bought out IMG, right. So he'll be doing creative for all walks of entertainment. So I would definitely look into really all leads, because don't be afraid to move around. It's definitely tough, but being able to have that open availability to work for different teams, if you want to go to a sports team or even an agency that works with sports, that can get you in the door. So especially for internships, and most of them do offer paid internships as well.
And Tommy, for the Bucks, we actually just filled. We had our internship class just come in, but we, during the fall, that's when we accept new applicants. If you have a full sale next to your name, talk to me afterwards. I'm always down to look at your work, because I'm all about pumping up the full sale name. But that'll be something for us anyway that you'll be able to hopefully pursue in the fall. So yeah. We
post all of ours online, and our season just started, so we'll probably be reevaluating that in December, January next year.
Yeah, and in sports, mostly internships, and especially, tend to open at the end of the season. That's when to start looking for those. But meetups go on for different organizations. We have 10 students who are at a meetup with the Pittsburgh Pirates down in Bradenton at their spring training facility today. And Justin referred to WME. If it's William Morris Endeavor, they did buy IMG. Yeah.
And then also, I'll be at the Career Expo tomorrow. So if anyone wants to come talk to me, especially from a design standpoint and marketing, I'd be happy to, look at portfolios or just network and talk and just get to know you from a one-on-one basis. Because, I'm a post-grad here, and I definitely want to work with more full sale students. Just knowing what is coming from this school, it's fantastic.
Right, the expo's in 4D, starting tomorrow, and the Magic will be there.
First off, thank you for coming and speaking with us today. My name's David, and I'm sports marketing. This is for Teresa, actually. I'm one of the type who wake up at 7 on Saturday or Sunday and watch Manchester United play. How much did you look at some of those teams in Europe and take maybe some of the concept they use to get bigger and use it here in Orlando?
Not much. We have to be a lot scrappier here. So, I think we have a lot stronger marketing, if I'm honest, just from the perspective of we've had to work a lot harder to get where we are. There's a little bit of inspiration we've taken from looking at some of their membership programs, or certainly their merchandise is stuff that we like to look at. But from a pure advertising marketing standpoint, I feel like everything we do is very unique to us, and we haven't taken much inspiration at all from them. But obviously we admire the work that they do in the establishment that they've created with their clubs. We're just a little different. Have to be reflective of our market. And Manchester.
Hi guys, my name is Alex. I'm in sports marketing here too as well.
Alex.
Hey, Alex.
My question's for all three of you, but first I just want to give kudos to Teresa. I'm an Orlando native. I'm blown away how big this Orlando Soccer City thing is. I actually didn't get to go to the game on Sunday because I was shadowing with the Magic, but just seeing from the Wall Street parties, the pub crawl, right in front of the Amway Center, you guys were busing people to the stadium and all that purple everywhere. That's just really big for a city that hasn't had a big sports push in a while. But my question is, all you guys are sort of at, with the Magic, you're in rebuilding. Tampa, again, is #1 pick, starting their team up again, and Orlando City just starting off. What are some of the challenges when your team isn't, for, say, the top-tier team or, doing well in their conference, when you're sort of at the lower side of the totem pole? Into marketing, is it harder to do stuff like that?
It's harder, but at the same time, going back to something I was talking about earlier, it's, what other stories can we talk about? Last year we had Derek Brooks inducted. He was a Hall of Fame linebacker for the Buccaneers. He retired a few years ago, but he still lives locally in Tampa. We had him out, and we inducted him into the Ring of Honor in Raymond James, and he joins Warren Sapp, Paul Gruber, a few other people. And it's what else can we sort of focus on? The record is what it is. Like I said earlier, the guys on the team, in a lot of ways, we have to answer to them, or at least we have to answer to how they perform. Magic as well. It's not always going to go how you want, but what else can we talk about? With whether it's the Hall of Fame, whether it's the #1 draft pick. I personally believe, I refuse to believe that we're in rebuilding, and that's not me drinking the Kool-Aid. I think that we really have a promising young team. I think we have a great defense, and I think that a quarterback, in particular, is something that would really help us. Maybe a little bit of help on the offensive line, but I think that we're maybe 1 or 2 pieces away from being great. So how can we sort of focus on that? We just did a piece. Jameis Winston came and visited us. Marcus Mariota came and visited us. Let's get people excited about, okay, we were 2-14 last year, but let's get people sort of in that same frame of mind. We're a piece or 2 away. This draft is exciting, and it has big implications for us. How can we utilize that? How can we leverage that to, even though interest has potentially faded a little bit, how can we grab all that back? Because it's really it's a big draft for us. It's an exciting draft for us.
And same here at the Magic, we're riding that same wave. So, regardless of record, it's how do we get and connect with the fans even more? How do we push it? How do we get that fan engagement and get it excited? We just announced we're inducting Shaquille O'Neal, Shat-A-Tat into the Hall of Fame on March 27th. So it's what other stories can we tell that's going to reconnect with the fan base? And it can be difficult in marketing pieces because you have collateral. We rotate all the players. We have a lot of young and new faces, and we're still tinkering and working with the team. So it's how do we tell their story? People may not know about Alfred Payton or Nikola Vucevic. So how do you explain about what do they like? What do they do in their off time? What are they doing for summer? We have a lot of great content about March Madness. So we're going to do a lot of information about them, watching their alma maters, and see how we can relate with fans who follow similar colleges. So it's just a matter of continue engaging, keep getting fans excited, and then just building on our brand and the emotional connection you have or fans have with the team, and then continue telling that story.
I think for us, we continually try to reinforce and build the community aspect of who we are as a team. So fans are fans. They have rituals. They go to the game. They show up at the same time. They park in the same place. They hang out with the same people. They have their rituals. It's part of that experience. It's part of being a part of this community, this movement. And it's something that we would like to focus on. And at the end of the day, we're selling entertainment.
Yeah.
And so you want to make people feel like this is something fun to do. And whether it's because you're winning and you're on top, or it's because it's just a great time. And that's where you have to kind of temper it with, yes, we have team content. We have all kinds of stuff about the stats and the scores and all of that. And that's for your real avid fans. But for your casual fans, it's about what kind of experience do I have on that day? And what do I feel like when I leave? Am I happy? Do I have a connection with the team? So, really, really kind of driving that and bringing those casuals into the circle and getting them more and more engaged with the brand as they go. So for us, it's really about the whole experience and the community around it.
And to build on Teresa's sentiment, we at the Magic, we have great marketing when it comes to, we have promotional days. So we have Sunday Family Magic. We have midweek Magic. So we try to encourage fans to, bring your family for a Sunday game. It starts at 6, and then Wednesday we have happy hour. So it's how do you get creative with your marketing. How do you reconnect that fan base and then bring them out again, like Teresa said, for fan fun engagement, just exciting and just entertainment in general.
Good afternoon, panelists. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. My name's Cameron Branham, and I'm in sports marketing.
Hey, Cameron.
I have past experience working for public affairs and basically like around the community and everything. So my question is, I guess more for Teresa, but if Justin and Stephen, if you want to chime in, feel free as well. Are there specific jobs within sports organizations that are devoted just to like public relations, like I guess like setting up press conferences and tours of stadiums or like teams and stuff like that?
You haven't had Alan Hancock's class yet, have you?
No, I'm only in my second month.
Well, so there you go.
So, okay. But yeah, I just any advice for that? That's what I would like to do.
That is a complete department. And yes, there's a full staff of people who are writing content, who are doing press releases. We help with press conferences, but really it's their show. We're just making it look pretty. So absolutely. And it's a pretty sizable team.
Same with us, and I'm sure pretty much every sports organization, especially the ones I work for, you have a communications or PR department. We have a team that works day and night with the players. So we have pre-game interview, shoot around, post-game. So when you apply for a position like that at different teams, you'll be doing all that. You'll be setting up press conferences, writing press releases, kind of being the handler with players, and pretty much other duties is assigned as they go, because sports is such a ever-changing medium and environment that you never know what's going to happen. Someone could get traded, and then media is knocking on the door, and they want to talk to coach or have that media availability. So they handle all of that from a content standpoint.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, and another thing that, Cameron, that I'm not sure if I got this from you or not with the whole public affairs thing, but we also with the Bucs have a community relations department. A lot of sports teams have that as well. Similar to PR in a sense. They're not true PR, but at the same time, they're kind of focusing on sort of the warm and fuzzies. Like, you know, if somebody's hanging out at the soup kitchen helping out, if somebody is, you know, anything that kind of pumps up the team. Vincent Jackson, for instance, one of our wide receivers, was up for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. So, you know, we have people that in that department that are sort of focusing just on, you know, writing up a press release for that, or, you know, making sure that a video gets put together for that to get Vincent's PR up, to make sure people know about him, what he's doing. Gerald McCoy, if he's ever, you know, volunteering at any, you know, local school or anything like that. If we have cheerleaders that are out doing public appearances, we want to, the people in that department, that's their whole job. They're sort of an unofficial PR. So that might be, you know, if community outreach is something that you find you might want to look into, that's, you know, another avenue that, I'm sorry? Yeah, there you go.
Community relations is some of the best avenue you can go work for. I mean, I love going out in the community, and we do full staff projects where we'll build a playground. We're working with Florida Hospital and Coalition for the Homeless, and we'll pack bags that's going to feed, you know, thousands of people in Central Florida. So a lot of sports teams do that community outreach programming, and it's just tremendous to see a whole organization, you know, work for a community. It really is rewarding.
That's month 23 in the extended program and 14 in the immersive program. You'll enjoy the class.
Got a long way to go.
Little plug.
Well, he's already in the program. I don't have to sell him on it. So just trying to help him get excited
He's taken
about
those
it.
classes.
Hi, I have actually a question from the online stream from Robert Silliman. This is for Teresa. When hiring a new employee, do you shy away from hiring fans of the team? Do you think that being a fan of the team could create a hindrance in the office?
It's a delicate balance. Finding somebody who's a fan of the team is good as long as they can separate the fact that being a fan is not the same as being an employee. So it's a case-by-case basis. We definitely have fans of the team in the office who were fans before they came to work for the club. I myself was one, but I'm also a career woman by choice as well. So that's always going to take precedence over anything I do for my free time. So I think it's a definite case-by-case basis, and it's certainly something that we discuss quite a bit. It's it can be tough. But you definitely want somebody who understands the sport or understands, you know, our culture, or either some sort of component of, you know, who we are that we look for whenever we're hiring somebody. So there is an aspect of being a fan to that.
Hi, my name is Rick. I'm sports media marketing.
Rick.
My question is for Teresa. Could you explain to us a little bit more about the challenge of introducing the public the real essence of soccer and how different it is in comparison to traditional American sports? Taking this into consideration, how do you engage these fans?
It's not a huge challenge. I think we just, you know, it's really a challenge internally to stay true to what our vision is. And that's programming wise, we really try to, we have worked really hard to define our brand and then define our game day experience as it relates to our brand. So staying true to that and not, I guess, basically allowing other stakeholders within the organization. We have a lot of debate on certain things that go on. So as it relates to maybe ticket sales packages that come through, and how does that tie into our game day experience? And maybe there's a group that's sold, and you know, some, you know, maybe they want an experience. So we've worked really closely with all the different departments to provide assets that fit our brand and that still fit our vision for the game day experience, and still gives them assets to work with and to sell and all of that. So, you know, I think our game day experience, while we're trying to remain authentic to the sport, and like Josh said earlier, we have a Brazilian majority owner, and we have our president is from England. So, you know, we have clear vision of, you know, what football is around the world, and we've tried really hard to stay to that. But it's not anything crazy. It's just we're not going to interrupt the gameplay with, you know, kiss cams and stuff like that. That's just not authentic to the sport. No offense to the other sports here.
I'd like to thank you
Or
guys.
to kissing, for that matter.
Hey, it's great entertainment.
I'd like to thank you guys for all coming out and speaking to us as well. My name is Mike Shaliko. I'm in the sports marketing program as well. Based on that last online question, I know it's frowned upon to hire not frowned upon, but questioned to hire the hardcore fan. But do you ever find yourself, while creating content or marketing campaigns, to kind of channel that inner fan to kind of, you know, receive the image you're wanting to portray to who you're trying to sell your product to?
I would say, you know, at least from the Magic standpoint, we want hardcore fans. We want people who are homegrown Magic fans. I mean, with us, we have people that worked 20, 15 years in the same company, and they grew up Magic fans. So they live it, they breathe it, we're there every day. Myself, if I'm not working a Magic game, I'm going to the game because I want to see success, I want to be there, I want to see the smiles and fans' faces when they pick up the playbill, when they're seeing Vucevic, you know, did his double-double, you know, for their fantasy team, or, you know, whatever that gets them engaged. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's frowned upon, but like to echo Teresa's statement, it is, you know, it's a delicate balance. But from a creative standpoint in marketing, we have to get in the minds of fans and kind of see, okay, well, if I was coming to the game, what would I want to see? Or what do you think is going to help get you to come back and become a season ticket holder and just stay a fan and grow organically?
I grew up in Jacksonville, so the Jaguars came in '95. We moved there shortly thereafter, and that was the team. That was the only team in town. You know, it was Jacksonville's a college football town for the most part. A lot of Florida State fans, a lot of UF fans, but the Jaguars were who I was raised watching. So, I mean, I was aware of the Buccaneers. You know, they won the Super Bowl in '03, and you know, they have a lot of history there, a couple Hall of Famers. But they were a team I was aware of, but really didn't care much about. But when I got this job, you know, when I made the decision, I knew I wanted to go into the NFL. I knew I wanted to work for the Bucs. And then when you get down there, it's it's amazing how quickly that changes, because you're living it, you're breathing it. Like you see the staffers, the coaches, the players walking around, and you're at the games. At least most staff members, you're at these games working. So the wins and losses affect you. I mean, anybody, people may be better at controlling it than others. Some may be better than others, but it's something that you in my opinion, you can't help. I mean, it took no time at all for me to just be fully immersed in everything that the Buccaneers were. And yes, there is a fine balance, like Teresa said. You want to make sure that you're still able to separate yourself and truly, okay, is this the best for what we're doing, or is this just coming from some sort of inner fan that I have? Is this some secret agenda that I'm subconsciously wanting to push? But it's fun in that aspect, because you're the work that you're doing, you're a part of the team. You may not be on the field, you may not be wearing a jersey, but you're a part of that team. You're helping sell Gerald McCoy, you're helping sell Nikola Vucevic, you're helping sell this idea, this feeling, all that good stuff.
Hi, I'm Bryce. I'm in sports marketing. About this being Florida, and you get a lot of people from all over the world that live here, do you exploit like different stars that's coming into town to play the different teams, like if LeBron or Tom Brady's coming? And actually, it's a question for all three of you.
Do we exploit? Is that what you said, explore?
Yeah, like if a different player is coming, like because we live, like a lot of people are not exactly from Florida, they come from all over the world. So like if teams are coming, like are you like trying to pump it up, like like promoting this person's coming or such and such like that?
At least from an NBA standpoint, I mean, like you said, in Orlando, tourism is massive here. So we're going to have people who didn't grow up here, so they may not know the Magic or some of the newer players that we have. So, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, 82 games, you're having 41 home games. It's a lot of games. So on a Thursday night, you may not know, oh, hey, the Cavs are coming to town, and they came last week, or Boston's coming. So we'll definitely market like upcoming games to reiterate, this is what's happening in town. Now that we have soccer here too, so we want to make sure that people are aware that we still have basketball, soccer's here. Dr. Phillips, if you guys haven't been over there, it's fantastic. So there's a lot of things to do in Orlando. It's growing and growing. So from a marketing standpoint, at least for me, we will do print collateral and billboards that are trying to reiterate, okay, and all the clutter that you see on a media basis and just driving I-4 and I-4 construction, that, hey, there's a game on Sunday, check it out, and then tickets are still available. So,
one of the projects that I had last year, late in the season. Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing these lights. One of the really fun projects I had last season was at each game I would basically document a season pass member's experience, and we have all kinds of different ticket packages. Standard season pass, club member, suite member. Away member was one of them, and the away member is really more just for one member for one game. If you're a fan of the Saints, if you're a fan of the Giants, the Cowboys, who we both play next year, and I believe both of those games, if they haven't sold out already, I think we're pretty confident that they will. We don't want to market. There's a fine line, because you don't really want to pump up the other team. I mean, because you're selling the Buccaneers, you're selling your franchise, but you also want to cultivate, we're a place where if you happen to be a fan of the other team and you can find tickets, which hopefully you'll have an issue, but if you can find tickets and you want to come check it out, come on out, because Raymond James, it's a great place to, that's one of the things that we really try to get out there, is that it's a family-friendly place. You're hopefully going to be watching great football, and it's a spot in sunny Florida where, with the tourism and everything that was mentioned before, it's something where you're able to enjoy the sport, regardless of what it is. In our case, we hope that it's football.
Yeah.
Hey guys, my name's Will. I'm in sports marketing.
Hey,
Will.
Yeah, Steven, you said something very interesting earlier. I'd like to touch on that. You said that you guys have the #1 overall pick, obviously, and you said it's a choice between kind of good or evil. Now, if you guys pick the evil guy...
Some would say that. I'm not saying that. Some might say that.
Okay, let's say you guys pick the evil guy, the polarizing guy, Jameis Winston. How do you market a player like that? How do you market a player like that to fans?
Really, I mean, that's going to be something that Jameis, whatever off-the-field stuff he's going through, admittedly, I followed it from afar, but only he knows really what his story is, what his path is. We want to present Jameis, or really anybody, because, quite frankly, I have no idea. For all I know, we could trade out of the #1 pick, and we're drafting, in the second round. But whoever we bring in, we want to make sure that we give them the platform, that we give them the necessary means to tell their story. We want to. It's not something that we're just, the PR machine's making something up and we're just, cramming it down your throat. We want to make something that's genuine, that's organic, that's really capturing the flavor. We mentioned earlier capturing, a city or a culture, whether it's soccer, football, NBA. in the same way, we want to capture, my job is to help capture what this player's true story is. So whether it's Marcus or Jameis, we want to give him the avenue to sort of, set the record straight, however you want to put it. Give us what is him. So does that answer your question? No, man, not at all. Not at all.
He's a film guy too. He's a video guy. So
yeah.
Hi, my name's Cassandra.
Hey, Cassandra.
I'm a huge Bucks fan. I love your tie.
All right.
I'm just recently getting in the program and learning the different jobs that are available for sports marketing, and I learned about the community relations, and it really, really touched me. What I want to know is, in the community relations, do they have like their own graphic designer? Do they have their own filmers, or do you guys all collaborate together?
I think that goes back to the first question. One of the first questions that Josh asked. For us, it's we deal with everything. So I work in like the digital creative services department. So there's 3 producers. We have 2 graphic designers, and then we have like a creative director who sort of fills in the gaps. We also have a copywriter who works with scripting and things like that, verbiage. So it's community relations comes to us. I can't speak for other franchises, but for us, they come to us. The Vincent Jackson thing I mentioned earlier, we had to come up with a treatment, with a video for him, for USAA, and for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. They came to us, hey, we think Vincent's great for this. He does X, Y, and Z in the community, real big with the military. We want to put together a video to tell that story to the NFL and to the fans of the NFL. So they came to us, and then we sort of take it from there. I'm lucky because we're given a lot of creative freedom. I mean, we're not the be-all, end-all. We still have to kind of run it through the powers that be. But they kind of give us an idea, some guidelines, and then we're able to take it and run with it.
Same with us. We have 2 graphic designers, a creative director, marketing strategy managers that work hand in hand with community relations to get how that avenue wants to be done. So what story they're trying to tell. But from a creative and digital standpoint, we're going to create that content. So once the marketing strategy is ready, or we have means to whether it's print or if it's going to be in arena, or we do a lot of video spots. The departments will work hand in hand, and then I'll get a job request and say, okay, we have a creative request for Chase that's going to do a court refurbishment, local and central community, and we'd like to have an invitation to go out to season ticket holders or open to the community, or it's going to be our community ambassadors, Nick Anderson and Bo Outlaw. They're going to go to a specific area, and we want to promote that, whether it's signage, and then community relations will be there, and they'll pretty much run the show, and then a lot of different departments have a hand in that, from communications, community relations, marketing, design. It's really a whole company initiative, as everybody has a little hand, and they're having an integral role in making these things happen.
Same in Orlando City.
So, guys, this has been a great 90 minutes. Before I thank these guys, I just want an announcement for you guys as you're looking for more panels to attend. One that was not necessarily marketed towards sports students. Tomorrow at 9 is the live event presentation panel, which does have a couple of sports people on that panel. Shelley Wilkes from the Magic will be there, and John Franzone from the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I want to make sure that you guys were aware of those opportunities.
I'd recommend seeing Shelley. She is phenomenal. She'll really enlighten a lot of you guys.
So it'll be a very good panel from Justin Vest. So thank you guys for coming. Want to thank Justin and Steve and Teresa as well. You guys were terrific. Pleasure having you up here with us. Having you at Hall of Fame. And have a great rest of your day here at Hall of Fame.
If any of you guys want to hang by, I have some tickets for an upcoming game if anybody wants to grab some tickets. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.